It's Sunday afternoon, time of filming. This is my pedal board. And I just took this whole thing, spent maybe an hour taking this whole thing apart and essentially trying a bunch of pedals, trying to rearrange it, trying to rethink it, and ended up putting it exactly right back the way that it was. And if you're a guitar player or you have a pedal board and maybe you play a different instrument and have a pedal board, that'd be a fun comment for you to leave. I wonder if you ever do this. You sit down and you go, I think I'm going to switch this one pedal out, and that leads to, well, it doesn't quite fit. I'm going to move this other thing over here, and then maybe I don't need that other thing. I can exchange it for this other deal. And in the end, you end up basically just tearing the whole thing apart, trying a few things, and then putting it all back together just the way it was. So I did that today. I wonder if you did that, or if you do that. Now, here's why I'm sharing this. The whole conversation that we're having here on this channel, the whole point is to have a meaningful discussion around what it means to have a personal voice as a guitarist, a sound, if you will. I like the term voice because we all have one in relation to our speaking voice. And if you play guitar, it's the same. You have a guitar voice. The question is not whether or not you have one. You do. The question is, do you know what it is? Have you found it? Have you worked to develop it? And does it come out clearly when you play? So the whole purpose of pedals and amps and changing things out and effects and overdrive and reverb and delay is to take your natural personal guitar voice and give it color and give it EQ and edge and highlight its personality, if you will, in order to fit in a certain context and do a certain thing. That's the whole point. Maybe you've heard this because I've heard him share this a few different times. Paul Smith from Paul Reed Smith Guitars talks about how you can give, what does he say? He says it's something about like you can switch the microphone that Barbra Streisand is singing into, but it's still going to sound like Barbra Streisand. Or if you give her like a crappy mic versus a good mic, something like that. But the whole point is that you can't change the character of the foundational tone, but you can change the way that it's presented. So that's the whole thing with this stuff. Now, I have this shelf of pedals over here, and some that I love very much. I've talked about the Ibanez Echo machine. This is incredible. I've talked about the Boss RV3, one of my favorites, and also on some of my favorite records. We haven't talked much about the Boss CH1 Super Chorus yet, but also one of my favorites. The Jam Dinosaur, one of my favorites. So I have these pedals over here, and I sit here and I look at them and I think, wow, these are really great. I'm glad I have them. I remember when I bought it. Each one kind of has a story, and I want to use it. And I look at my pedal board, and I think, I'm going to see if I can get some of this stuff on there. And one thing leads to another. Next thing, it's Sunday afternoon. My whole pedal board is in pieces on the floor. I get frustrated, and then I just put it back together the way it was. Just like this. So I guess here's the question. Have you ever done that? Do you do it? It happens to me. I do this to myself about once, probably on average about once every 2 or 3 months. And as silly as it is to take the whole thing apart and put it all back together again, I think it's a pretty helpful exercise, because at the end of it, I end up being reminded that while all this stuff over here on the shelf is great and I love it, and while all the stuff here on my board is great and very useful and I love it, at the end of all of it, I'm still Charlie, and you can change the microphone Barbra Streisand is using. If you know the Paul Reed Smith quote, please put it in the comments. And maybe it doesn't even apply to this. Maybe I have misremembered the whole thing. The whole point, though, is you and your guitar voice coming out. I would love to hear your pedal board stories. Also, do you have any pedals that you feel like really capture, really complement the character of your voice and help it to come out and really shine when you play guitar? I hope you're having a great week. And I'm looking forward to reading, not hearing, your comments.